Scaling sessions. We've got some amazing guests in the green room, standing by, waiting to talk to all of you.
In today's world, there's more and more opportunity to have a hybrid in between both of those.
Your job isn't to get into the industry to get rich. Your job is to get into the industry to support and provide the best service you can.
Listen, discover, explore. I mean, it's exactly what I tell the brands that we open retail stores for, right?
Hey, welcome back to another session of the Growth and Scaling Sessions. I absolutely love doing this show because I get to meet with such awesome other founders and talk about topics that really mean a lot to us and how we operate our business. And today is going to be no disappointment. We are talking about something that's super, super important for all of you. And that is when you launch your business, generally you're pushing out products and services that you just trying to gain some traction. And when you launch, sometimes you launch things that don't really make sense, but you're like, hey, that guy wants it. I'm going to produce a product to do that thing. And next thing you know, you're making way more money on other things and you're stuck with products that you don't really even like to do anyway. How do you get out of those things? How do you stop providing services that aren't really aligned with the real profitable centers of your business? That is the topic of discussion today. I love this topic because so many people make the same mistake of just launch, product, and they don't know how to let go of things that aren't making them money. So before we dive in, quick note, today's show is sponsored by Captain's Council. If you haven't heard already, this is the place to go if you are a founder, an operator of a business, CEO or founder, and you need advice. You need an advisory board. You need people you can bounce ideas off of. Chances are you've got someone you can go to lunch to when they're available. You don't have a steady group that's consistently there waiting, ready, and eager to help you solve your problems. Because why? Because you're going to help them solve their problems as well. So when you join a council of peers, other people who are CEOs, operators of businesses who are in the same predicament you are, chances are you know how to solve their problem, and they may have advice to help you solve your problem. That's what the Captain's Council is all about. Check it out at captainscouncil.com. That's the last we're going to say for a while, but I cannot wait to introduce today's guest, Serena Maston. Will you please tell us who you are and what do you do?
I am the owner and founder of Pulse Marketing, a marketing and advertising agency. And then I'm also an author of my most recent memoir, which is Exposed. You Can't Heal When You Hide.
Whew.
Watch
That
out.
sounds meaty.
It's definitely a doozy.
Serena, that sounds like an incredible book. I'm actually really eager to hear it. So tell us, Serena, you have an agency, Heart of Creative. I love that you are so in tune with the emotion that goes into marketing. Tell us a little bit about your agency, and then we'll jump into the topic of product. What do you guys hit?
So we operate as a fractional marketing agency. So we support small and mid-sized companies that really aren't ready to bring in a full marketing department.
Yeah.
And we provide basically market research, strategies, graphic design, web, content, all of the above as an extension of their team. So
okay, this is so relevant. This is so relevant, Serena. And this is one of the things I love most about you and your agency is the fact that you're helping people who are in this boat that we just described earlier, people that are either climbing out of launch or they're in that mode of just like product. And you're trying to help them say, hey, simmer down. We got to get this under control. Yeah. What stuff are you doing that's making you money? How do you have that conversation with people?
Well, a lot of times is I look at it from a perspective about like financially. What is your highest revenue producing product or service with the least amount of expense. Because it's not
Right.
just your highest revenue producing item, it's also like what is your margin? Because
Yeah.
that makes a huge difference. And I think as entrepreneurs, especially when we're, either struggling or thriving, we have a tendency to want to be everything to everyone. And in that process, we lose sight of laser focus.
Right.
And you have to have research, data, and strategy in order to make decisions about products that you have or services that you have versus just if you're going to keep going and running with all these products that aren't producing results, you're spreading yourself too thin.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, most people have a hard time consistently fulfilling their primary product, let alone the other 10 or 15 products that they just produced in their attempt to gain traction, right?
Yes. And we personally face this as an agency
Yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
when we started, we were everything to everyone all the time. I mean, it was insane. And so, what it was doing to us, it was wearing us down. It was putting us in brand new situations, offering services that we weren't really good at. And then it creates a bad experience overall for the customer
Totally.
because they're actually paying you to do this. And if
Totally.
this is not something that you are really, really laser focused on, and you're just adding services or adding products just to add them,
Yeah.
all it's doing is taking away from the products that are actually going to grow the business.
100%. And those of you listening, like those that are participating with us on either LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you're watching, will you add in the comments? I would love to know, do you have this problem? Because if you do have this problem, you're not alone. I'm here to tell you, I do this, Serena does this. Like this is something every business does, is they find themselves launching a product because it's convenient at the time, but then it turns out being something that's not so profitable. I was thinking this morning about this, Serena, and you're gonna probably chuckle, but prior to 2020, there weren't many people distributing masks in the public marketplace.
Yeah.
How many people picked up that product as a temporary service offering, somehow made it relevant to their existing business, and yet now they've got stockpiles of masks that are being sold, and it would be a waste of their time to go buy ads to get in front of people looking for masks, right?
Yes. So there's a few different ways to look at it because service and product based business
Yeah.
have a lot of overlap, but they're
Yeah.
very, very different. When it comes to products, you don't want to find yourself with a ton of inventory that you can't turn over. And you
Right.
don't want to invest a ton of advertising dollars into something that now you're discounting. So when it comes to if you're already in that position where you've already launched a product and you bought way too many, in
Right.
those situations, we always look for partnerships or resources that
Oh,
we can
totally.
actually get those distributed, get those out of, stock, because that's not what you need to focus on.
Right.
You need to focus on your highest revenue producing items that also are, your lower expense items to produce.
Totally. Well, Serena, I'm big into making lists, and I love 5 things to focus on because I think 5 lists of 5 things always kind of they paint a good picture of things you could do that could be useful. And so I put together a quick list of things that I think are super relevant for people to consider when retiring products, because that's the theme today. How do I get rid of products that are wasting my time, my energy, my resources? And here's what I came up with, and I would love to hear your input on this. When you're retiring products, first thing is do some market research. Is there
Yeah.
demand? Second, sales data. Are you actually selling said product or service? 3, ask your existing customers if this is really an important thing to them or not, because chances are they could care less. They want the other thing that you do for them. 4th, look at your competition. Are they doing these things still, or is it just you? Are you the last one standing doing this product? And then last, look at your books. Are you actually making money on these things? Serena, what are your thoughts on these 5 ways to analyze your retiring products?
Well, I definitely always lean towards market research first. But I
Yeah.
have to say that look at your books being number 5. It's not in specific order.
No,
I would
it's not
always, yeah, I would always look at your books first, because that's where you recognize, oh no,
right.
there's like my cost of goods is so high that I'm actually losing money by having this item, right? Like, or launching this
Totally.
product. When it comes to
It's
thinking,
crazy.
it is like that is how we laser focused our services. Was we recognized that as much as we love, let's say, doing video production and filming,
Right.
we love it. We were losing so much money. It's
Right.
just time consuming. It's, a lot of pre-production, a lot of post-production. It's subjective, right? So we had to look at that. And when we saw the cost of goods or the
Right.
cost of services compared to what we were, the product price, it
Totally.
was no brainer. We had to stop offering that service. So if
Totally.
you think about that in terms of looking at your books first, your answers are already there. They just are. But then in order to decide, okay, but I do want to launch a product.
Right.
So let's say I want to remove a product or launch a product. Market research is the only answer. One of our
Oh, totally.
one of our core values is data drives decisions, not opinions.
Love
And
it.
so you may think you have this amazing product, but if you don't understand the need, the marketplace, the pain points, it doesn't matter what your opinion is. You don't have the data to actually make decisions.
Totally. Totally. Market research and your books. Of the 5 things, those are really, really important things. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, a lot of people don't look at their books very carefully. And to be honest, a lot of people don't know how to set their books up so that they can see true costs of goods sold when they're delivering a product. And so they don't even know they're losing money half the time, which is so sad. And I actually had a client who was in the health and nutri space, supplement company, and they had this colon cleanser, and it was it's amazing, in my opinion, kind of a crappy product, but so this colon cleanser was amazing at doing what it did, but there was, believe it or not, heavy competition to buy the words, to buy the rankings, to get the traffic to their pages was expensive.
Yeah.
And so it was a loser product. But they had another product that was amazing. They were profitable on it from the first step sale. And what they ended up doing is we took all the inventory and we added it as an upsell, as a bump sell to the other offer. Amazingly, they had like 30% take rate on the colon cleanser along with this other diet supplement pill, which blew my mind because now all of a sudden this thing that kind of sucked was actually a huge profit center because they weren't buying that traffic for the colon cleanser, but they sold the colon cleanser along with the other traffic they could buy.
Yes.
Crazy, right?
I love that analogy because it's so interesting that sometimes what's right in front of us, we don't see.
Yeah.
As entrepreneurs, we are running in so many different directions, wearing so many hats, and
Oh,
when
man.
you invite someone in to give you insight or to give you a different perspective, is sometimes just that little extra perspective will help change the business long term. One of the things that we did for a client is it wasn't that their product wasn't needed. It was that the packaging was so bad that it didn't actually speak to their target audience.
How funny.
And this is
Yeah.
all encompassed in market research.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not even just deciding to retire a product or service or to include a new one. It's also thinking about how do you communicate the message? How do you package that product?
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, that's also important because you will know how to take those steps when you have the data
Right.
to make those decisions.
100%. 100%. And now you, Serena, were a guest on my podcast, the Growth and Scaling Podcast, which is a sister show to this Growth and Scaling Sessions. But I literally talk to guests all the time on the podcast who tell me the story of their growth journey. And I love hearing about their growth journey because almost every one of them has this pivotal moment where it's like, yeah, I started my business doing X, and then I discovered that we were actually better at doing Y. And so we phased that thing out. And as soon as we made that decision, boom, we went,
Yeah.
rocket launched, And I love this. I think it's so funny because, everyone starts their business with one intention, and that is to offer a solution to a problem and help people's lives get better or their businesses. And they have good intentions. Sometimes, though, they override what they think the market wants with what they, with what they really want. You know what I mean? And so how do you tell people when you work as an agency partner, how do you tell your clients, I just don't think this is what your clients really want? You know what I mean?
Well, or imagine some of the tough conversations I have to say or have when I look at their website and I fall out of my chair.
Right?
And then they're like, well, I designed it. And I'm like, well, that is why we really
That is why nobody's
want you.
converting to
So,
anything
yeah.
on your site.
Like that website is not going to get you anywhere in life. No, but I would say a lot of those tough conversations are really based on approaching it from a place of having the information,
Yeah.
having the data, understanding who their customers are. Market research and even understanding the competition are really tied together because
Yeah.
part of your market research is understanding what your competition is doing so that you can do it different or better. So a lot of those
Totally.
key focuses that you had listed really do tie in together. Most
I
people
totally
say
agree.
market research is a big scary word, and really it's understanding your demographic,
Yeah.
understanding the, not just the demographic in the geographic areas you want to target,
Right.
but also understanding the emotion of the person that's purchasing your product. So you know
Totally.
what your messaging is to connect with them. So it's not
Their
going to be
buyer patterns,
yeah,
like what triggers them, what problems,
yes,
and it's funny, Serena, how many people don't really understand the psychographics, I guess, of what drives their potential clients to buy, right?
yeah. And it's interesting. They may have an idea, but they don't
Yeah.
use that to their advantage. And what happens is then they question, why is this not working? And they start doing things sporadically.
Right.
You
Right.
have to
Right.
have a plan and you have to have data to make any decision, including launching or retiring a product.
Love that. Love that. And for those of you that have had to retire a product recently, I would love for you to throw that link in the comments below. I want to see what you retired, and I'd love to know why you retired it, because chances are you probably still have the URL active. You just don't have a link to it. I do that all the time. I'm like, maybe someday I'll repurpose that.
Yeah, I'll just keep it there.
Right? So if that's you, throw it in the comments. But above and beyond that, Serena, why is it so important for people to kind of strip down the excess products instead of just having this huge library of things that they can do?
Well, I think the biggest part is that they're wasting time and money
Right.
by spreading themselves too thin to invest in multiple different areas of their services or business. The other piece is that when you have SMART goals, they're simple, they're measurable, they're achievable, right? They're attainable, all of those things. When you have SMART goals and you have a laser focus, it allows you to truly uncover
Yeah.
a greater path. But when you have goals that are completely in different directions and you're not focused on your roadmap, then that's where you start to
Totally.
face even more issues in your business.
100%.
It
I
leads
couldn't
to
agree
customer
more.
service issues. It leads to, all unhappy clients because you're not producing at your highest level.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so easy, Serena, to see one of your competitors launch an ancillary product and you're like, oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I should do that too. And yet you really don't have the insight as to how to even fulfill that thing. You just think, oh, if they're doing it, I'm doing it. Sometimes, and I've been in the opposite end of that spectrum of, hey, I just picked up a client who had an ancillary product that I just plugged into my offering. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
sometimes that's how those things come about. But how careful should people be about that, over diversifying of their offering,
Well, I would say tread lightly
right?
because if you already have services or products that are producing, then continue to focus on how to produce them better.
Yeah,
If in fact they're not producing, then identify if that's even what the market needs. And
right.
through sales data, through
Yep.
market research, through your books, all of that information is already there.
I do not eat a lot of fast food, but I do like a good burger every once in a while. And sometimes when I am looking for a burger, I just go to the first drive-through I see. But there's only one drive-through that always has a long, long line, and you probably know what I'm talking about. This is In-N-Out Burgers,
Yes.
and it is the weirdest phenomenon. They have this simplest menu. Almost no options, and you're just like, okay, this is all I want, this is what I'm going to get. And it is so easy to buy, and it's so easy for them to fulfill. I go to a McDonald's
Machine.
or a Wendy's or a something else, and all of a sudden the menu is like 5 screens wide, and I have no idea what I'm going to get. And you sit there and you think and you think and you think, and it's like, man, you go to In-N-Out, I don't have to think. It's just like, boom, I just want, the double. And so give it to me and a shake. Okay, boom, I got it.
Easy.
Easy decision making for your customers means more revenue for you and easier fulfillment. So, Serena, any closing thoughts on this comment? Because I know you and I could talk all day about this thing. What are your thoughts? What do you suggest to people sitting out there listening to this right now?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I, kind of want to recap this with is
Yeah,
when you don't have these things in place, that doesn't mean it's good or bad. Because a
right.
lot of times we are beating up ourselves for not having everything that we need in place. It's just information, and
Yeah,
information is going to help you make decisions. And so it's one of those things where I don't want people to judge themselves for
yeah.
not having these things in place. Now that they know what they need to do, information just gives us an opportunity to make a change.
Love it. Those are great closing thoughts. And for those of you who are just chiming in, you listen to this whole conversation because I think it tells you a lot about how to really simplify your business offering, how to simplify your team even. Sometimes you get new hires for a specific product, and if that product's not making any money, that new hire is just going to be a victim of your choice to launch things you didn't really need to offer. Hone in on what you do really good. Make that the best thing in the marketplace. And when you can do that effectively, you're going to launch out of this world. Yesterday I had on my podcast a guy who a lot of people will recognize. His name's Jason, and he started a company called Basecamp in 1999. Still runs Basecamp today with the same partners, all bootstrapped, has never changed his model hardly at all in 25 years. And I said, Jason, you're amazing. I don't know how you stay that focused. And he's like, I just love my audience. I love my clients, and we keep them happy. So boom, enough said. So, and those that are participating, thanks so much for being here. The Growth and Scaling Sessions is something that I've put together with a lot of my friends who are also business owners, marketers, founders, and they love to talk about the things that they've done to build more success in their companies, just like what we do in the Captain's Council, just like what we do on the podcast. This is a continuation of all those things put together. If you haven't checked out Captain's Council and you need some peer advisory from other peer CEOs, come check it out. And we look forward to catching all of you on the next episode of the Growth and Scaling Session. Serena, thank you for taking the time to be here with us today.
And I'm in Captain's Council, so I'll be there too.
Woo, woo, woo. All right. Thank you, everybody.